Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Foundation Fabs or Flushes 2020. It is week 8 and we have the final foundation to test out today. As you can probably tell by the title, today I will be testing out the Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-hour foundation. I am very excited to try this because if you know anything about me, is the fact I love full coverage foundations. So without further ado, if you would like to see whether the Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-hour foundation can survive on an oily, acne prone skin, then just keep on watching. I'm on the Smashbox website and the Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-hour foundation is $29.50. I do believe that's how much I paid on Boots as well, because I bought my foundation from Boots. And I went with the shade 03 Fair Neutral. I somewhat struggled to find my shade because I originally tested out the Studio Skin years ago now, and I had the shade 1 and it was too dark. It oxidized on me, and after reading the description, this might oxidize too. Speaking of description, let's read it. A comfortable 24-hour full coverage foundation that weightlessly glides over skin. It controls oil and shine and has a blurring effect. It's also waterproof, sweat and humidity resistant. Won't look cakey or cause acne. Everything about that seems perfect. A little goes a long way. This formula reveals its true color within 60 seconds and sets quickly. The fact that it takes 60 seconds to reveal its true color. 24-hour full coverage with a matte finish, weightless, comfortable feel that's non-settling and non-creasing, oil and shine control with kaolin, clay and bamboo powder, waterproof, sweat and humidity resistant, smooth skin with hyaluronic acid, vitamin E and light scattering spheres. For all skin types and non-acnegenic, cruelty-free. Usage: apply photo finish primer, start with a drop of foundation and blend well. This formula reveals its true color, blah blah blah. We heard this. We know everything, I think. Let's zoom it in. It even says on the top, studio tip, a little goes a long way. Well, let's see. I mean, this, I don't know if it's a window or not. Don't think so actually, but if this is the same color it's going to be too light, but let's see. It doesn't tell you to shake, but you know me, I always do. Actually, before I put this foundation on, let's put some moisturizer on. This is Revolution SPF 30 Protecting Boost for normal to oily skin. So I never prime for my foundation wear tests. You are welcome to use a primer with whatever foundation I try out. However, I test the product by itself because to me that's the indication on how the product works. It says a drop, but from what I see, okay, I had 2 drops. That's not going to be enough. I just know it's not going to be enough. Like, don't even get me started. I will be trying out the wet sponge, which is what I usually prefer with my foundations, but I shall also try a brush because from what I know, a lot of Smashbox MUAs actually prefer a brush. Let's try a sponge first. So far, it's already impressing me. I think the wet sponge doesn't like it. The water in the sponge just doesn't want to make this foundation nice. I can't just have it like this. I'm gonna take what I think is a good amount for my whole face. If we are left with some, that's fine. At least I know for the future. It does set really quickly. Really quickly. Like way too quickly for my liking. It takes 30 seconds for it to set. I know a lot of people advise to use an oil with this, but you know, like I shouldn't have to buy another product to make another product work. I want a foundation, not a foundation and oil. Why didn't you provide that, you know, as a whole, just in one? I know the shade is wrong, but from experience, I had the shade number 1, which is light with neutral undertone, and it was too dark. It oxidized on me. So the one down from that is this. I would struggle to find my exact shade, so I can only imagine what it is like for everybody else. Okay, this is one side of my face with one layer of the foundation on in comparison to my bare face. So I actually don't mind it. I do wish it was a little bit more pore filling. It does kind of accentuate some of the acne scars that I have on my cheek. It is very, very matte. Let's try a brush on the other side. I think I'll prefer a brush. Okay, this is the other side of my face with one layer of the foundation applied with a brush in comparison to my bare face. This came out as more of a medium coverage, but I actually like that. I had way more control with a brush. The sponge just doesn't like the water, like the formulation doesn't like the water in the sponge, and it applies it really heavily. It's hard to spread it out. It dries too quickly that way. With a brush, you're able to take a small amount, buff it in, and then like build your coverage that way. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little bit more, and let's see. It does oxidize. I wouldn't say there's like that much oxidization though. See? It's just a little bit lighter. And this is the same side of my face after I've built the coverage a little bit. So far I'm impressed. The brush side, by the way, I'm not impressed with the sponge side. It just looks pretty heavy and it's not doing a lot for my skin. Okay, I look like a ghost, so I do need to bronze. However, I am terrified to do this step because this is a very matte formula. The sponge side, it is like, it feels pretty much like powder. Will my cream bronzer work on this? Let's find out. I'm taking a fast base foundation stick in F14 and gonna try and bronze my face. The cream bronzer on top of this looks absolutely fine. It is a little bit harder to work it in because the formula is quite matte, but it doesn't separate the foundation or anything like that. It looks fine. I'm gonna bronze with powder a little bit more. By the way, I am left with some foundation, so I recommend, if you're using a brush, I recommend about a pea size. Time to conceal my under eye. Today I'm using Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. It was extremely hard to blend that concealer in. I still feel like I can see the seam of where the concealer met the foundation. It is very, very matte. Now it would be time to set, but I'm only going to set my under eye because the foundation itself is matte enough for me. I don't need to use powder. Okay, let's bronze because I look absolutely awful. I'm taking Revolution Pro HD Mega Matte Palette and I'm using the Contour shade and the Coco Loco to bronze my face. I never expected to say this, but this shade is not really wearable for me. I tried to, you know, like blend it down my neck and make it look all good, but you can tell the base was too light. So if I wanted to wear this foundation, I would have to buy a darker shade. It is 10 o'clock, it is 10:14 actually. We're gonna get this wear test started and I shall see you at my first check-in at hour number 2. Okay, you guys, it's been 2 hours and this is what my face looks like. I am shocked to see so much shine on my face already because the foundation was crazy matte. when I initially put it on. And as you can see, the center of my face is shiny. It doesn't feel uncomfortable, but I will blot. This is the piece of paper. The transfer is really good. It didn't transfer much, but as you can see, I have the strawberry effect on my nose. My pores are not looking good. The foundation doesn't have an emollient. It's pretty much a pigment and that's it. So I'm actually considering using an oil tomorrow and like wearing that foundation again, but I don't know, I'm not convinced. So far it looks fine. Again, I'm surprised to see so much shine. We're gonna keep going. That's all I can do. It's a shame I'm not head over heels since this is our last foundation, but there will be foundation wear tests throughout the year still, so yeah, let's keep going. Hour number 4, and I have a little bit more oil in the center of my face yet again, so I'm gonna blot yet again. There's a little bit more transfer this time. Despite having to blot, my face looks pretty good. There's no major change. The foundation looks pretty much exactly the same. Not gonna stay here and talk too long because it looks the same. Alright, I shall see you in 2 more hours. Okay, hour number 6, you guys, and this is what my face looks like. Pretty shiny on my nose and my cheek. And before I do anything, I'm worried that I'm going to touch it and smear it and it's going to come off. So let me blot first. This is the piece of paper. That is a lot of foundation this time round. Let's have a look. I am very surprised to see the foundation still on my face. It is slowly rubbing off my spot right there. I don't have foundation around my nostrils there. It's kind of coming off. At hour number 6 is actually not that bad, so it is holding up. I'm just not the biggest fan of how it looks. Look at my cheek. Look at my nose. It doesn't look good. Let's keep wearing it. Let's see how long this lasts. Okay, it is hour number 8 and this is what my face looks like. It is shiny once again, and I did wear a mask and I did go outside and it's raining, but I'm surprised there's still foundation on my forehead, so it might actually be water resistant, but it's not oil resistant as we can see. So let me blot real quick. This is the piece of paper. The transfer is not that bad. The foundation is falling apart, it's rubbing off. It's still on majority of my face, but my spots are more and more visible. Like I said, I did wear a mask. We are slowly approaching that time where it no longer looks good. I mean, I didn't particularly love it from the start, but it's now one in, let's call it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna make a final kind of conclusion at hour number 10. All right, you guys, it is hour number 10 and this is what my face looks like. This is going to be my final check-in. Sorry about the echo, by the way. The foundation doesn't look good anymore. There's redness and it's separating in a very unnice way, especially in the center of my face. Like the sides of my face, even though it has rubbed off my spots, it still looks sort of okay. I don't know what to think of it, if I'm being honest, because it's not the worst foundation I've tried, but I don't know, I just wouldn't recommend it for that price. I just wouldn't. I definitely expected more. I will try this foundation with a drop of an oil to apply it, but if it gets so oily, I mean, it got oily at hour number 2, so adding oil to the foundation is not going to make it any more long wearing. I don't know, I just can't get this foundation to work. I did use a brush and it was definitely a better technique to apply this foundation than with a sponge. Sponge just draws out moisture from it, but then because it doesn't want to mix, it applies the layer of the foundation quite heavily. But we will have a recap with all of the foundation. I will tell you all my recommendations, kind of summarize what we have done here for the past 8 weeks. So I hope to see you next week for the conclusion of Foundation Fabs and Flushes 2020. But I thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next year for another Fabs and Flushes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it useful. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best, and I hope to see you next time.